I just made a whole video and my audio wasn't picking up, so here we go again. I wanted to add some stuff on some insights I shared a while back on a video on gratitude. I talked about in that video. Let me just kind of summarize what I've said in that video, and then I'm going to add some stuff that I've experienced and discovered since then after implementing those lessons for quite a while now. So in that video, I talked about how gratitude improves your well-being, increases your well-being in two proven ways. The first way is that you're training your mind to recognize positive things around you in your environment, and so that they have an impact over you, and that increases your well-being overall. It creates a positive outlook, a positive mindset by recognizing these lovely things around you all the time, right? Because normally you have a negativity bias where negative things factor into your mindset a lot more, and this had survival import, evolutionarily speaking, but doesn't mean we have to live that, right? Like we can choose to recognize positive things and train our mind to do so. And it not only is it recognizing those positive things, but it also amplifies those experiences so that they have more psychological power over you. So now, even something like the bird whistling in the trees as I take a walk, my peanut butter and banana sandwich, which I love so much, a piece of fruit, just any little thing like that. Now, whereas before you might have like overlooked it completely, not even noticed it, or maybe you had attended to it and it didn't really register into your headspace much at all. Now that you're training yourself to recognize these things, you're doing it deliberately at first with your gratitude practice until it becomes automatic. Now it starts to get amplified and starts to have that psychological power over you, so that it makes you more happier overall. It increases your well-being. So that's the first route, the cognitive route, in that we recognize positive things more and it has amplifies their power over you. The second route is a social route where uh, we know that people just like to be around positive people a lot more. People like to be around grateful people a lot more. So grateful people will have more connections, better relationships, better friendships, more friendships, bigger social circle. And we know how important your social life is for your overall well-being and just your health. Even, even how like we know that happy people they live longer, they have less diseases, they recover better, they do better after surgeries, and that's why the choice to it really was a choice for me to cultivate a gratitude practice. When I looked around me, I mean, your objective conditions don't have to be perfect, even just subjectively. Like, I looked around me and I felt bitter, I felt hopeless, I felt shitty, my health was going down the drain. And that is exactly why I made the choice a long time ago to develop that gratitude practice, to recognize lovely things around me. It's not because my conditions I thought were also good, it's because I wanted to create better conditions. And the only way I saw to do that was to just change myself fundamentally, mentally, like just develop a positive outlook, and that way I could create better things around me. And also because I found that I was wearing that self-pity on my face. Like it was just a really shitty, like I was beaten, and I've seen that expression on other people. The kind of the it's like a once defiant face turned into like a permanent whimper, like with like mewling eyes, like just like screaming for help or some shit. Like just I hated the person I saw in the mirror. So that's why I made that choice. Like the only way to change this shit around was to me to take charge and start recognizing positive things, so that my mind gravitates to positive things more than it does the negative things. Okay, it's a choice. Okay, so I covered everything I covered in that video. Now let me add in some insights I've had, what I've discovered since implementing that practice now for quite a while. So first thing I noticed was that I would grow jaded. So if you pick the same things every day to be grateful for, you'll find yourself just becoming jaded, that they no longer have that power over you and they kind of get worn out. Um, so even just like that peanut butter sandwich I was having every day, after a few days of like, hey, I'm grateful for this, okay, now it's not really making me feel a lot like very good. Yeah. It's not improving my outlook that much anymore. And there I found it pays to be creative, to kind of have fun with the practice. You you see it as a kind of challenge to notice ever newer, fresher things to be grateful for. So like the birds singing in the trees or whatever, just the fact that you can walk without pain, that you can take a piss and it feels good, like just little things like that. Like the amenities you have access to, like have health insurance. Like holy shit, how awesome is this? Just little things like that. And then we'll find that when you come back to the same things, like let's say that sandwich again, now it restored that power in it. And that's how you keep the world evergreen for yourself. You keep the world fresh in your eyes. the world looks like a rosier place. But I see it as a challenge. I see it as a game, right? So that's the first insight I had, the first thing I discovered. The second thing I discovered, which I thought was pretty cool and was a pretty big insight, was that not all the time can I bring myself to feel gratitude, because it requires quite a high bar for entry. Sometimes you really feel hopeless. Sometimes you really feel bitter. Really feel like your objective conditions around you just don't support you feeling grateful for anything. And that's because, and I know some people argue against this, but I think there's a certain level where you're just really sinking and you're drowning, and you just really feel like you're not self-sufficient. You don't know how you're going to see another day, or like, like a really bad place to be in mentally. And there I found it's hard to get yourself to feel grateful, because gratitude has that connotation, that implicit idea that you're grateful to another person. Okay, and that's the last thing you want to feel, like I'm grateful to someone when, look at me, I'm drowning here in my life. I can barely take care of myself, let alone other people, right? And so I realized I needed a spectrum of positive outlook, that I could cultivate, not just something with such a high bar for entry like gratitude. So the next level down I found was appreciation. So even if I cannot muster up gratitude, I cannot bring myself to feel grateful and incur that notion of feeling gratitude towards another person, I can still feel appreciative. Okay, so even if I feel bitter towards someone, it's like, shit, whatever, dude. I still appreciate that I'm breathing the good ass prana here and feeling good about this shit, right? That I can breathe. I can breathe good air, or I can eat good food. Like, I'm appreciative. Even if all the other shit's going to hell, I can still appreciate things. So gratitude, I found, is the most potent experience to change your outlook, but it requires a high bar for entry. It's not always easy to get there, to cultivate that mindset. So the next level down, that still is going to put you in a positive outlook, but doesn't require so much out of you, I found, is appreciation. And then even appreciation, I found, does have a little bit of that connotation of being appreciative to someone. Okay, and there I found the next level down is just recognizing lovely things. Like, you can always recognize lovely things. Like I talked about, just breathing the good ass prana, the good air, right? Eating good food. Just once in a while, someone says thank you to you, or says hi to you. Or I remember, this was many years back. I was like really down, really depressed, going through such a tough time in my life. And I went to a Starbucks on Christmas, and I didn't have enough money. I ordered something, and I pulled out the money. It's like, shit, I didn't have enough money. And barista, and I canceled the order, right? But then the barista not only gave me the coffee, but she gave me the cookies I ordered as well on the side. And I remember just what an incredible impact that had on me. Like, I just felt like if in that moment I had $1 million, I would have just given it all to her as a tip. Like, just really changed everything. But it's little things like that you can still feel appreciative for. They come out of the blue, out of nowhere. No matter how shitty your conditions are, you can still find things that are kind of lovely. While you can see things, while you can sense things, hear, taste, smell, there's always something lovely, right? So that's a low bar to entry, still cultivates a positive outlook. And then even one step down from there, even if you cannot bring yourself to recognize lovely things because you're in such a bad, foul mood, you can still find things, you can still amuse yourself. You can find the hilarity in things. And you can find all of life's little ironies. Because I found when you really zoom out, everything becomes fucking hilarious. Okay, and I found myself just laughing about this at work because it was hilarious. Like, these drivers had to put in four carts full of bags and packages into their vans, and they were furious. They were cussing out, and I was in charge. I had to try and get these drivers to put this shit in their vans, and the shit was falling out of their vans onto the drivers. They were throwing shit, cussing, banging the carts, asking for the manager and shit, and and usually as an anxious person, this would evoke such a fight or flight response in me because it's kind of a dangerous kind of situation. But I found myself just under my mask having a good laugh about it. I actually found myself smiling, like, because when you really zoom out, when you take the bigger picture, how fucking hilarious is everything? Like, we're all gonna die, right? What company are we working for? I'm working for Amazon. I'm not gonna say it. Fuck. I'm working for a company here, and I have to impose these stringent standards here, right? As the arm of the company. I mean, just, I don't go into specifics of it, but just how hilarious is everything when you zoom out. You can always recognize little ironies in life. And even in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, it says everything is vanity. All is vanity. And when you really think about it, all is vanity. We're trying to look good. We're trying to lose weight. We're trying to lift heavy weights and shit. what does it amount to ultimately? It's all just a big ass vanity project. So ultimately, everything is just pretty hilarious, right? Um, so yeah, gratitude, the most potent appreciation, then recognizing lovely things, and then if you cannot bring yourself to any of that, still you can put yourself in somewhat of a positive outlook by just amusing yourself, find things hilarious, recognize the ironies, just yeah. But then I actually went further. It's like shit. Even if I cannot bring myself to do any of these positive things, I can at least abstain from the negative bullshit. And that's why lately, just maybe like 3 days ago, I made two resolutions, and surprisingly, I'm able to adhere to them, and it's been working for me so far. The first resolution was just I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I never, ever, ever feel sorry for myself. I just do not let myself feel sorry for myself. If I recognize my mind slipping into that place, done. Bring it back. Fuck that shit. That's a bitch. That's a bitch mindset. Like I do not let myself ever feel sorry for myself because I've seen the impact of that. Uh, Wearing that self pity on my face is just such an ugly mindset. Such a disgusting mindset. Like fuck feeling sorry for yourself. Okay. Fuck feeling sorry for myself. I refuse to do it. It's my new identity now. I just do not go there. I do not let my mind go there ever. And the second resolution was jealousy. I do not feel jealous. Okay, I refuse to feel bitter. Um, I just don't go there. I don't let my mind go there. If it goes there, fuck that shit. I'm not gonna dwell on that. I bring it back to something else. I refuse to feel sorry for myself, and I refuse to feel jealous about anything ever towards anyone. Okay, so even if I cannot bring myself to do those positive things, I can at least abstain from these bullshit bitch mode mindsets. Okay, and I'm sorry for the harsh language, but for myself, that's what it takes to get myself gung ho over this shit, right? Um, I'll just I guess that's enough for the video, but I'll throw in one last thing. The reason I kind of frame it in these harsh absolute terms is something this famous social psychologist, Baumeister, he wrote a book called Willpower that I read, Willpower, and he talked about bright lines. So bright lines is some jargon that lawyers use. It's where it's a very easy boundary to know that you've crossed. And bright lines like this can help in certain cases when you're trying to quit something. So for example, alcoholics will say, just no drinks ever again. Just they quit drinking cold turkey. And why this helps is because in the present moment, sometimes you sabotage yourself because you don't believe that your future self can hold true to a standard. You don't have confidence in your future self, so you're like, fuck it, let's just have that drink now because I'm gonna fuck up later anyways. And this happens because of something called hyperbolic discounting. Let me break this down. So let's say in that book he uses that analogy of you're driving down a road and you're aligning yourself to like something you see on the horizon, like some city spires, some tall buildings. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm driving towards that. But then you see a pub. Right now, it's a tiny pub on the side of the road, a little bit distant. But as you keep driving towards the city, it looms up. It gets bigger and bigger in your vision, and you know you have that resolution. Like you don't want to drink anymore. You don't want to drink anymore. You want to make it to the city. You know if you go into that pub, you're gonna end up wasted. It's gonna be a disaster. Everything's gonna go to shit. But the more you keep driving towards that city, the pub looms up bigger and bigger until it's right in your fucking face. Right? And that's hyperbolic discounting, where these pleasures they factor a lot more in the present than future rewards. And they've done studies about this, and they've actually measured mathematically like the relationship that a present reward has to a larger future reward. People will choose the smaller present reward over the larger future reward in a very predictable way. It's called, and that's predictable mathematics. It looks like it's a hyperbolic curve. Okay? It goes up. I don't know what happened. My math is weak. I have to study the shit. Whatever. It's called hyperbolic discounting. You can call it temporal discounting, whatever. All these terms exist. But the point is, the way to beat that is, like one way to beat that is to have these bright lines, these very strict, absolute standards, so that there's no fuzzy line there. Like if I just say I'm gonna drink less and I'm an alcoholic, then I might let myself have a drink, and then there's a fuzzy line there because I don't know if that's really if I can have one more drink or not. So I might have another drink, and then I keep justifying this to myself until I'm wasted, until I'm passed out, whatever, right? And it happens with dieting, it happens with a lot of things. And some things you cannot be so absolute about. Like you cannot say I'm never gonna have food again. But when it comes to these resolutions for myself, I refuse to feel sorry for myself. I refuse to feel jealous. I feel reasonably confident that I can adhere to these standards cold turkey, 100%, and it's been working for me. I just do not let myself go there ever. They're not useful. They're not fruitful emotions for me. They're not fruitful cognitions for me to have. So I can draw that boundary so that there's no fuzzy line there. I don't slip into that mindset. If I recognize myself slipping into that mindset, I bring it back right away. Fuck that shit. That's a bitch mindset. I don't let myself go there. So anyways, I hope in this video you guys got some tips for a gratitude practice. Very quick recap. You do it because you train your mind to recognize positive things a lot more. It amplifies those experiences so that they have more psychological power over you. And the second way in which it increases well-being is the social route, where people like to be around grateful people more, so you'll have more friendships, more relationships. And then I talked about how you should make that practice for yourself as a choice. It doesn't matter what your objective conditions are like, make that choice for yourself. I talked about some of the pitfalls like growing jaded, so treat it like a game. And that's how you keep your world evergreen for yourself. Things seem fresh for yourself because you're always recognizing new things to be grateful for. And see it as a challenge, a fun game. And the last thing was that spectrum of positive outlook, ranging all the way from gratitude, which is the most potent but is the hardest to cultivate, all the way down to just abstaining from bullshit mindsets that you just do not want yourself slipping into. So make that choice for yourself, guys, so that you can create the better conditions you want in this world for yourself and for others. Um, and some people will argue that negative, if you're like a pessimist, like I was, like as if I'm talking to my former self right now, you might think that negative things you see around you in the world are somehow more real than the positive things. Okay, you might think that negativity is somehow more justified or more real, more accurately describes the world than the positive outlook, and you could be right. But then you have to ask yourself, are you really in the business of accurately describing the world, or are you in the business of trying to live better? Because if you look around you, yes, there's plenty of negativity. It's probably even justified, but being in that mindset is going to just lead to more negativity. Or you can make the choice to be better, see better, and do better things, and create better, more positive things. And the only way to get there is through a better headspace. So one is descriptive, and the other is performative. I would rather go for the performative truth, where I create the better conditions and fuck trying to accurately describe the world. I'm not a scientist or something. I'm not right now. Right now, I'm trying to live my life, and I'd rather make the choice to live it positively. So I choose the cup half full rather than the cup half empty. It's a choice. So make that choice, guys. Thank you.